Welcome to Battle Arena. Thank you for joining us for Europe's premier MMA promotion. We're going to be bringing you some of the best in mixed martial arts action. Chris, what are you going to be looking forward to tonight?
Well, the thing I love about mixed martial arts, Steve, is the three elements that make it up. So we have striking, we have wrestling, and then we have groundwork submissions on the floor. And when we put those three elements together, you end up with this really exciting, kind of fiery sport. So you get to see knockouts, you get to see huge takedowns like you'd see in like a judo tournament, and then you get to see submissions and chokeholds on the ground. And it is the ultimate way to test who is the best combat athlete. If you just do boxing, you just do wrestling, you just do karate, you're limiting yourself to a very specific rule set. With mixed martial arts, the only rules are the ones that are there to stop the fighters being permanently maimed, right? Everything else is just about, let's see who is the best fighter. And that's what makes it such an exciting sport. What are you most looking forward to, Steve?
I like exactly what you say there, Chris. It's like you put yourself in a box if you're just doing a specific discipline. MMA gets rid of the box. It breaks down the walls, it puts you in a cage, and it pits you against someone else that is your equal or your better, and you're about to find out about that.
I know we have some huge action on tonight's show, and I want to see what's coming up right now.
All right, folks, the first fight we're going to be bringing to you tonight is Corey Belden versus Patrick Nasowitz. This is a lightweight bout. They have all the speed and power that you could possibly pack into somebody of 155 pounds, 70 kilograms. Chris, what do you know about our man Corey Belden?
Well, he was coming into this title fight as the world champion. Patrick was coming in as the European champion. It was the title versus title, the unification bout to see who was the best. And they were both, it's like quite often with these fights, like us as analysts and commentators, we have a sense of this person has probably got a slight advantage or a slight favorite, but I think everyone going into this fight had no idea who was going to win. And it felt a little bit kind of, Patrick Nasowitz was not a crowd favorite. There was a controversial fight before that he had with a controversial finish. And Corey Belden is one of those fighters, he plays to the crowd, he'd cheer, he'd get the attention, he roars at the end. So it felt like good guy versus bad guy. It felt like we were going into a kind of almost a Disney movie, a cage fighting Disney movie with the good guy versus the bad guy, the hero versus the villain. And it was also a bit of a contrast of styles. I mean, Corey, he's a great striker, but we've seen a lot of wrestling and takedowns from him. And Patrick, we've seen a lot more clean striking and using his range and his distance so much. And he's a little bit bigger and stronger as well. What did you expect from this fight, Steve?
Well, it's like you said, both of these gentlemen were title holders in the lightweight division. They were coming to unify the titles. They can do it everywhere. They're great in stand-up. They're great on the ground. And it was really who was going to get there fastest with the mostest. So what we're going to see tonight is who was ready to go that extra mile, who was ready to come back on their shield or with that belt. And that's what we're going to see tonight.
So before we see the fight, I actually managed to catch up with Corey and just had a little chat with him about his prep going into the fight. And we're going to go and see that now.
We're going to watch your fight very shortly. It was you versus Patrick Nasowitz, and you were the world champion. He was the European champion. What was your preparation like for this fight? Can you talk us through how you got ready for such a big challenge, being the main event as well?
This was I don't want to say like I've ever slacked off or cut corners or anything like that in previous camps, but there's like a lot of time I would I'd have that cake, for example, when I know I'm not supposed to, but like I'll do that. And this fight, I was like 100%, like everything was perfect. I didn't eat any bad food until like after the fight. So the recovery in terms of throughout the whole camp was on point. I had no injuries. Even the weight cut itself went so well, and the refuel went even better. So like I was walking into that fight, I was on top of the world. This guy was not going to beat me. This guy was not going to do anything at all. And that quickly changed. Like
we don't want to give away what happened yet. What were you talking about that?
Killed it. But, yeah.
What were you expecting from Patrick? What was you like? Obviously, you had your game plan going in, but what were you expecting back the other way from Patrick? Because he's a very accomplished martial artist.
Yeah, I knew he was going to be difficult, but I didn't realize how big he was going to be. That was like the biggest, because I don't think you really realize until like you meet someone and then you're like, oh damn, this guy's huge. It was the weigh-ins. I remember looking up, and I was just like, oh yeah. I was like, you're big. I remember saying to him, I was like, you're big.
He's very tall.
Yeah, he's very tall. I was like, you're bigger than I thought. And he just smiled at me. I was like, oh damn. But yeah, I knew he was going to be very, very tough.
And I got one more question for you, Corey, before we watch the fight. And it's kind of quite a broad question, but it's always very interesting to me. And it's, why do you fight? What draws you to be a mixed martial arts fighter and jump in the cage?
I could probably break that down a little bit, because jumping into the cage and being a mixed martial artist and then jumping into the cage, for example, I feel like two different things.
Okay.
In the sense of martial arts, it's been with me throughout my whole life since I was a young boy, and I feel like it will be with me to continue. You know, I mean, it's a lifestyle. The cage bit, that's where it gets it's different, man. That's when it becomes a bit more. Although it's discipline through and through, it's the cage thing is when it gets quite more, I say, serious, and you're putting like your health on the line, as well as try not to get knocked out in front of like your mom, which is you know.
That's very true. So we're now going to watch your amazing fight, and talking about putting your health on the line, I think everyone needs to really take note of round number 1 coming up in this fight. It's an amazing performance from yourself, so we're going to go watch that now.
This is a fight after all. We can be friends after. Very seldom to see Corey Belden backed up there. Oh, a head kick lands and Corey Belden's down! He's down and Patrick's swarming and big punches landing. Corey doing well to recover right now. He's clinching up. Patrick's got to be careful not to punch himself out or get trapped in an armbar. But there was a few that landed there. These are big, big punches that are landing. That kick. I don't know if we're going to see 5 rounds of it, the way these guys are fighting. Backing him up. Corey Belden's trying to get something started.
Big fellas for 70 kilos.
Just long and rangy, and Patrick just seems to be able to keep Corey at the end of those punches. Stumps to the face there.
Just a rangy guy.
All right, Belden again on the legs. He's got the knees together. Looks like he's going to be able to get it.
Well, that's a takedown.
Corey wants to touch gloves. I don't think Patrick wants any of it.
I feel like Patrick's quite
amazing. Big left hook.
Oh. God, he hits like a truck, does Corey Belden.
Backs him up into the cage. Got the underhooks from Patrick. He's got him off the legs. Big knees. I'd like to see some knees from either fighter right now. Either into the thighs or up into the guts. Is this the way to get it? Connect his hands. Pull him away. He's got to stay on his feet, though. That was the moment there.
Looks like using the
good crossface here.
Kind of look for a crossface or a Kimura trap. Oh, Kimura trap, see? He does like that.
He's very good at keeping him off the legs with that Kimura trap.
The Kimura trap means that even if you get taken down, you've got hold of the control of one arm, and it can mean you can reverse and end up on top.
Or finish it.
Or yank it down to the floor. Or get reversed again. Or come on top.
Oh, Corey Belden's on top now. This is the opportunity.
Oh, could it be over?
Wow, he's landing punches at will here. Can Patrick Nekovitz get out? This would be the comeback to see. I think it's there. Yes, for Corey Belden.
Wow.
There's the victory.
Wow.
After being put down in the first.
Stunning comeback. It's come through adversity.
Wow.
Chris, what were some of the main takeaways from that fight?
Well, I said before this fight it was like a Disney movie. I got it all wrong. That was a Rocky movie, right? Completely. He got hit with that head kick, and then I think maybe sometimes the referees can give a little bit more if it's a title fight. And this was champion versus champion. And I think they just gave him that little bit more time. And if it was an undercard fight, they might have actually stopped it at that point. They gave Corey just that little bit of more time, and he came back, rallied, and then got the win. I mean, it is literally like a movie script. Or if you wrote that in a movie script, you would be accused of kind of being a bit cheesy and making it awkward. And that to come back from such adversity shows his maturity as a fighter and what kind of heart he can put into this performance. But I think the really important bit was the turning points at the end and getting that huge takedown. And I know, Steve, you're a big fan of wrestling. Can you talk about why he went for that huge takedown and carried him from one side of the cage to the other?
Well, this was exactly, it was the turning point. It was the fact that Nasowitz wasn't able to get the finish, and sometimes you can have too much success too fast. And Corey, he knew that he had to come from behind. He knew that he had to make a big statement. And you see that there when he picks him up, runs him across, back to his own corner, showing very, very good cage control and understanding, and he slams him down. And then the finish comes actually off of an underhook Kimura there. He gets on top, drives his hip forwards, and just starts pounding out Nasowitz, who by then has really been, he's just emptied his tank, hasn't he? He's had a lot of success early on. He can't put Corey Belden away. He's thinking, what do I have to do to win this fight? And in the end, he didn't have the answer. It was Corey Belden's night.
And what do you think, Steve? Do you think it's more, is it heart or cardio or training at that point, or is it just stubbornness or testicular fortitude?
I think we'd have to go with testicular fortitude. No, it's what you train. What you train is how you're going to perform, and it's obvious that Corey was ready for everything. He was ready to get put on his back, and he was ready to stand back up and control Patrick Nasowitz. Welcome back to Battle Arena TV. Here's what's coming up. Well, I know I'm looking forward to seeing what the Mayhem girls are going to be getting up to later on in the show. But first, we're going to have a women's fight with Magdalena Gage versus Molly Lindsay. Chris, what should we be looking out for in a women's MMA match?
Well, it's become such a huge sport. We had Ronda Rousey come into the UFC and get so much more attention for women in the sport. And it's really become well respected now, whereas before it was kind of only on the smaller shows, but we're seeing women come through, represent, have title fights, be main events on some of the biggest shows in the world, and they put on great, entertaining fights. And that's what's most exciting about watching these fights. It's not really about male or female fighters, it's about watching great athletes go out there, perform, and show their skill set. And that's what we see in this fantastic fight between Magdalena and Molly. What are you looking forward to in this fight, Steve?
Well, it's just like you said, they're great athletes, and we don't really even need to make the dichotomy between men and women. What we have are athletes ready to put it on the line and showcase their martial arts skills. So let's take a look at that fight now.
Both starting very early. There's a nice judo throw there.
Magdalena with the hip toss. This is often the problem with these judo throws. Now she's in that headlock position. If she doesn't maintain it, then Holly will be able to slip out and get onto her back.
Trying to control the arm, maybe trying to go for an arm lock with that arm that she has trapped.
Oh, almost a reversal there from Molly. She's doing really well. Magdalena's got some serious top pressure, and that transition to mount was very slick, sliding the knee over.
It seems to be a very strong mount position right now for Magdalena.
She's not really looking for any ground and pound. I think she's trying to set up a submission zone. Oh, great reversal there from Molly. She swept, got on top, but I think she might have her arm isolated. She's got to be very careful. And Magdalena looking for some rubber guard briefly there, and she's gone for it again. So she's trying to use her foot to maybe isolate for an omoplata or control Molly's posture. Or a Goga platter, maybe. That'd be very exciting.
We don't see many of those in MMA, do you now, Chris?
No Nick Diaz specials. But Molly's doing a really good job. I think she's recognised the threat, and because she's got her left arm tied up with that overhook, it's making it very difficult for her to escape, and it's meaning that Magdalena, although she's on the bottom, she can set up all these attacks. So what Molly needs to do is get that left arm out, which she's done now, but Magdalena's let go of the arm because she's trying to transition to a guillotine off of it, wrapping that head. She's got to reach through with her other hand and try and clasp her hands together so she can get this choke. But it's going to be hard in these big gloves. Oh, and a hip bump sweep. This is really impressive transitions from Magdalena. She's one submission to another submission to a sweep. She's constantly attacking, and I think something's going to come through in a minute.
Some good base shown by Molly Lindsay, though.
Yeah, Molly, I think, is just trying to survive. She's just driving in, maybe hoping for a stand-up, but Magdalena's so active. Now, this is better from Molly. She's pushed Magdalena's head against the cage. This means that her posture's kind of affected. It makes it hard to go for the submissions. But maybe Magdalena will see a change of tact as she gets her feet on the hips and makes some space.
Again, I'd like to see Magdalena using the cage now to get up and get this fight back standing.
Well, sometimes it's styles, isn't it? I've always been the one that my coach is going, use the cage to stand up, and I've been like, no, I'm quite happy you're on the floor. But for Magdalena, she's in such an awkward position with her neck, in that angle against the cage. It's making it very difficult for her to move her hips to get these submissions. She's walking her feet up the cage now, trying to get an armbar. But it's going to be interesting to see how the judges score this round, because for me, Magdalena's just constant pressure and aggression from the bottom, and now she might have an armbar anyway.
Very hard to see from our position, but she looks like she has an armbar.
Yeah, it's just, is that around her head? 10 seconds left in the round. Will she be able to straighten the arm out in the last 10 seconds? This is so exciting. Oh, that is deep. Oh, that is deep.
Very
oh,
deep.
that is deep, but the mat might be saved her. Oh.
Saved by the bell.
Now, how much damage has been done to her arm? I think she's fine. I think because the armbar went belly down and the mat was in the way, it may have just saved her arm, and I think 2 more seconds and that arm would have gone snap down, and Magdalena was just submission, just aggressive. And this is our second fight of the night on Battle Arena 40, and this is such a treat. I mean, I know I'm a jiu-jitsu guy, but this is such fun to watch. Now, Molly's got to stay on her feet. I think she realises she doesn't have the skills to match Magdalena on the ground, and she's got to avoid that headlock throw, stay on her feet and throw some bombs.
Nice right hand there from Molly, and a nice knee.
She's going straight for that hip toss again. Oh, great. Molly moved her hips out the way to stop the throw beautifully. She's doing it again.
It's a nice throw there from Magdalena.
Another huge judo throw. I think Magdalena must have done some judo.
He seems to be controlling that arm again.
Magdalena's got such dominant jiu-jitsu. She's got such top pressure. She's a very constant pressure game, constant aggression with these submission attempts and control.
And this position is very tiring for Molly on the bottom. It tends to dishearten fighters that are stuck in bottom and side control.
And you can see this is the side control of someone that's done a lot of grappling, a lot of judo, a lot of jiu-jitsu, and they got that pressure, and we've been there on the mats and we've felt that pressure from such an experienced fighters, and it's a horrible sensation, and Molly's just trying to survive. The problem is she's not going to get a stand-up when Magdalena's being so active and aggressive.
It's another slick transition to mount there from Magdalena.
Very smooth. I think Magdalena's trying to isolate that arm, maybe for a Kimura, but Molly's all over it, trying to reach out with her other arm, protect it.
See how Magdalena is controlling Molly's head there with her elbow, turning her face the other way. It therefore makes it easier for her to control the arm. She's now abandoned that.
Oh, Molly's trying to wrap up that foot. That's a smart thing to do, but Magdalena just recognised it straight away and shot her hips a little bit higher and just made that escape impossible. I think Molly just can't deal with the pressure of Magdalena. That top pressure. Referee Paul Nichols giving a close eye, but maybe
nice
Molly's
reversal from Molly.
Got a little sweep. But like we saw in the first round, Magdalena's got such an aggressive guard. It's not necessarily a much better position unless maybe Molly can get a little bit of ground and pound going.
And she's going for the armbar again. And Molly gets to stand up.
I think Molly's got a big
nice right hand.
Could be a comeback if Molly can land a few more of those big rights, and Magdalena recognises the danger straight away and clinches up for that hip throw.
She needs to watch for that judo throw again.
Oh,
she
head
goes for it,
into
she
the
gets
mat.
it. The referee checking that Molly is okay as she went head first into the mat.
Yeah, and we do have rules in MMA that you shouldn't be throwing an opposition fighter onto their head. I don't think that's an illegal throw because it wasn't the intention, but I think they're grabbing onto the cage, possibly an injured fighter.
I think Molly's arm has been hurt in the transition there. It looks out of place.
I think her arm has been damaged in the throw. I think she's landed funny on her elbow, and it's a little bit of damage done to her elbow.
The medic's now coming in to check on Molly.
I think Molly's definitely out of this fight. We can see from our position that I think her elbow has been either dislocated or broken. She's done really well though.
Wow, what an exciting fight that was, Steve. That was insane. And the finish, I didn't really understand because the camera angle was the back of the fighters. The commentators seemed a bit clueless about what actually happened in the finish. Was she hurt in the throw? Was it some kind of submission? Do you understand what was going on at the end?
Well, we were really lucky because we were able to speak to our referee who's in charge of fighter safety, and he was right on top of that action there. So we saw the actual technique that was done, mentioned it to me, and we were able to try to talk that through. And luckily, I thought that you folks at home deserved to see how that went. So what I've done is I got a little camera crew together back at my home gym, and I'm going to demonstrate that move for you, and I'm going to tell you this is a real dangerous one, so be careful.
All right, I'm in my beautiful training facility with an Echo, and I've got my favorite training partner, my dummy Dan, and we're going to be showing you the finish that Magdalena Gage got, and it's a really beautiful little scarf hold to arm lock position. So what we had, come on, make a little bit of effort, Dan, was Gage getting a hip toss position, and then she's a bit away from the camera. So she had the hip toss, and she's under the hook here. And we see that she pushes the arm in between her legs, but what you don't see is how then she sets it over her forward leg, and you can see the twisting of the arm here. She hips up, and that's when the elbow dislocates, getting the tap. So just to go over that one more time with you. So if you are doing this, ride high on your ribs. You see how my hips are off the floor? Use that to unsettle their chest and their diaphragm. Push the hand in between, trap it, and then extend it in that kind of what you would call like an Americana or a figure four position. And then all you do is just a hip up. Be careful on your training partners. Only 15 pounds of pressure to break the elbow, as Magdalena Gage learned, and you'll have the finish. Pop. All right, guys, back to you in the studio.
Thanks for that, Steve. I don't know what was more upsetting, the horrifying arm break or the quality of your home video. Did you film that on a potato?
Well, actually, Chris, I filmed it on an iPhone Generation 1. Wow. So, unfortunately,
it's a teacher's salary right there.
That's what you end up seeing. But I hope that the technique was fairly clear for you there at home. It was a real bent back sort of position, and it really damaged Molly Lindsay's elbow. And what you get is, as I mentioned in the video, it's only about 15 pounds of pressure that'll pop that elbow out. But luckily for Molly Lindsay, she's an excellent athlete. She's got a great team around her, and she was able to get back on track. And how has her story progressed, Chris?
I think she's become a champion since then. She's like, that's the exciting thing about these fights is the story, the narrative that goes along with it. You know, you have that adversity, but you keep getting forward, coming forward, you keep getting better, and you keep improving. So when I was watching this fight, I was researching Magdalena a little bit and looking at her background. She's actually a Japanese jiu-jitsu black belt and expert. And I think that explains this unusual submission, right? Mm-hmm. Because a Brazilian jiu-jitsu person, although I teach Brazilian jiu-jitsu and I've definitely taught that move, it's not like a common part of the system that you teach regularly. But I think Japanese jiu-jitsu, you got those scarf hold positions, and then to be able to break someone's arm that way, I don't think Molly saw it coming. She'd never get caught with it again, which is good news.
It was absolutely vicious, that is for sure. And the whole thing about fighting and about mixed martial arts in general is you are going to get injured, and you're going to have to be able to come back from that. And that is the sign of a champion. And for Molly Lindsay to come back, become European champion after an arm break like that, that just shows her fortitude in spades. And now, let's go to the break.
Welcome back. Do you know what I love, Steve, about mixed martial arts? It's the art, right? Your canvas is the canvas of the mat, the canvas of the boxing ring, and you get to express yourself on there. You get to show your style. Are you aggressive? Are you a counter-fighter? I think me and you have very different personalities. When we were fighters, right, I'm a run away, hide, let the other guy get tired, hope for a fluky win at the end kind of fighter. And I'd say you're a bit more aggressive.
Definitely. I always like to get in there, mostly because I was absolutely terrified. But some of the things that people start to worry about is that, does a fighter have to look like a superhero? Do they have to be this absolute mountain of a man or woman? Or can they be a little different?
I would say that me and you are proof that you don't have to be too perfect.
Certainly not. And the thing is, like you said, you get to express yourself, and you get to step in whatever condition is best for you. And sometimes we have the typical brawler, somebody that might look like they just got off of a bar stool, against somebody that's chiseled out of granite, somebody that looks like Michelangelo sculpted them.
Are you
And we
talking
can
about Eskil versus Conrad? This famous fight?
I am talking about Eskil versus Conrad Jijek. It is an absolutely famous fight. It has millions of views, and we're going to be taking a look at that tonight. Shall we go to that fight?
When it's a Norwegian 100 kilo man,
I think it's just the building blocks of it, Chris,
It's
right?
just-
Because if you're a 100 kilo Briton, you are probably going to be made of fish. and
look at him, he's
chips,
100
fry.
kilos with abs.
Oh my God. It's all that boiled fish they eat in Norway or something like that. I think that's what they eat. It's certainly nothing else.
He's eating all of it, definitely.
All of, he must have eaten a small Norwegian village, actually.
Now,
Oh dear.
why don't I look like that? The genetic lottery has screwed me over.
Well, you just don't have enough Viking in you, Chris.
I keep thinking about fighting heavyweight, and there's moments like this where I think, nah.
Well, clearer heads prevail, that's for sure, Chris.
I
And
wouldn't
that brings us on to our sponsor of this excellent fight here, Battle Arena 46, Viking Warrior Nutrition.
That is a very apt sponsor when we have
A Viking warrior like Magnussen in the ring. Jeez.
good tattoos as well. I like the compass.
And we have seen this boy before.
Yeah, he's a monster. From Berserkers Kitzgillian.
Berserker. Conrad Jijek, ready to defend all of, well, I guess he's just defending the UK tonight, Berserker's gym in particular, but he is meeting up against a formidable challenge here in Eskil Magnussen from Frontline. Anybody with 100 kilos of abs, as you so aptly said, Chris, and the power of Jesus in his right arm is going to be dangerous.
And there's, see, that's the opposite. This is what we get with heavyweights, but you can't judge a book by its cover. It sounds like we have been doing it, but you can't, because we've seen Roy Nelson and other fighters where maybe they don't have the killer physique, but they've got power in those hands and they can knock you out with one punch. And this isn't a bodybuilding competition, luckily for Conrad, but this isn't a bodybuilding competition. This is a fight.
Exactly, and everyone has a puncher's chance, and both of these men have 100 kilos at their base, and they can transfer that to the end of their punches and
those
kicks.
tights. Wow.
If you're gonna, if you've got it, flaunt it, and I can definitely tell that Conrad's got it.
Yep, he's got it. It's because it's on display.
And Alan Jackson checking it out.
I'll say one thing for Frontline, they don't bring many fans with them. A little bit of support here for Conrad. Those powerful kabooms. Really enjoy where he spats.
Conrad's got a bit of a taping there on his right ankle, so maybe that's significant in his kicking strategy. But we've always talked about Frontline Academy and Magnussen coming from there as being a very, very experienced gym with UFC fighters and multiple. Oh, big overhand right. And that's where the danger is. Oh, he turns him with that one, does Conrad. And he lands a jab on the way out. He's looking for that right hand so often right now.
Oh, Conrad with the turnaround.
Yeah, nice little pancake move there. He may have wobbled Magnussen there with that early right hand.
Great footwork from Conrad. Conrad's
Big
got some
right hand
nice
up the
power.
middle.
Oh, knockout, big right hand. Oh, that's the Magnussen's just snoozing on the mat.
Never judge a book by his cover.
Huge
Wow.
knockout. Absolutely huge knockout from Conrad.
And the, Magnussen's eyes are still starry. We need to call in the EMTs here. That's for sure. He needs to calm down. We're getting him to a neutral corner.
I think we can all agree that was unexpected. But this is the way things go sometimes when you're a bit overconfident. Chris, do you think it was possible that a person with a name like Magnussen might be a bit overconfident going up against somebody that looks like Conrad Jijek?
It is true. It's the classic cliche of you can't judge books by its cover. And I think me and you, who were actually commentating on that fight, might have fallen for the you can't judge books by its cover. I think we both were expecting one result, especially when you have a fighter not just that looks like that, but is out of a pro team. And it also looks like it's chiseled from granite. Like, I was a bit confused. So I was expecting it to go one way, but he comes out with those overhand rights. And not only overhand rights, but overhand rights in spats, right? So the spats are like leggings. So not only was he not the scariest looking man, but he's a particularly unscary looking man wearing leggings, and he had a very good reason why he wasn't wearing shorts. He didn't bring any shorts. That was the level of preparation this fighter brought into this fight. Borrowed a groin guard, no shorts, squeezed into a glorified pair of tights, and then knocks the guy out. What a fight, Steve.
Exactly, what a fight. And just to look at that from a technical breakdown point, what Magnus was doing was he was trying to feel out. He was thinking that he was way ahead, obviously, in terms of his athleticism. So he leads that jab out, and Conrad comes over the top with what we call the cross counter, and just, boom, plummets him to the ground and stays on him. He knows that that's his chance. He knows where his power comes from, and it comes from your center of gravity, as we've seen all throughout MMA. And of course, we have some of that being reflected at the very highest levels of MMA. In the UFC, it's Derek Lewis, known as the Black Beast. Not exactly the most imposing physique, but he can get it done, and he hits with power. And as we saw from our man Conrad Jijek, you can hit like an absolute wrecking ball if you've got the weight behind it and you know how to throw it.
This week, the Mayhem Babes are in Birmingham, England for Battle Arena MMA UK. Here is what's coming up on this week's two-part episode. Birmingham has a population of over 1.1 million people, and it's the second largest city in England. It has become a metropolitan and vibrant city that hosts diversity and culture in its roots.
The city, however, like the rest of us, has been hibernating and waiting out the COVID storm.
So this week I want to find out who your favourite fighters from Birmingham are and why. You can engage with us on all social media platforms using hashtags Mayhem Babes or hashtag Mayhem Battle Babes. Hello, today we are in Birmingham and I am meeting Joseph Cummins, a fighter and club owner here at Ronin MMA Gym. Today we talk all things about the club's history and what it really takes to be an MMA fighter. Ronin Gym was established in January 2020. Yes, that's right. 2 months later, the pandemic hit, and unfortunately it meant this gym could not open up to the public. But with determination and practice, Joseph and the team were able to continue working with the restrictions and coach and train some of the elite fighters they do have here. The team at Ronin MMA Gym cannot wait to open up to the public. So if you are interested to get involved, keep in touch with their social media platforms for all the latest updates. On Instagram, you can get them at Ronin, RONIN.MMA.gym, or on Facebook, search for Ronin MMA Gyms Birmingham. The facilities here are fantastic, and they really are versatile, offering something for everyone, from children's classes to beginners, right up until your elite fighters. They boast 35 classes a week that will be running when the gym opens up again. So, what can you train here? Wrestling, jiu-jitsu, boxing, Thai boxing, MMA training and sparring, to name only a few. Best known fighters from the club. Joseph, the owner, is setting the standards high as he is the best known fighter at the club and current EFC lightweight champion. Title, Joseph Silk Cummins, won in South Africa in 2019, that was aired out to 2.3 million people.
So all our clothing was designed at Ronin MMA due to the fact that obviously we're mixed martial artists, so it needs to be comfortable, it needs to be durable and good quality. If you want to purchase any of our clothing, shorts, tracksuits or anything like that, they can go onto our website or Facebook or Instagram at Ronin MMA. Come on mate, you're up. 1, 2, 3.
Lewis, with so many clubs on offer, why do you choose to train here?
So the main thing is the top coaching. Silk's our head coach, Adam was our toy coach, Ranj, our wrestling coach. We have it all here. Mainly I started off with Silk because he's the best coach in the country, and that's the reason why I stick with him.
I want to find out from this club what it takes to be an MMA fighter. Hashtag Mayhem Babes Challenge. Would you be willing to train me as an MMA fighter today by setting me a training challenge?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, fantastic, Lewis. I look forward to it.
We will see you later in the show for more MMA insights and to find out how I got on today with my grueling Mayhem Babes challenge. Do I have what it takes to be an MMA fighter? Well, let's see, shall we? This is Jade from Mayhem Babes for Battle Arena MMA UK.
Thank you for that, ladies. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that's going to pan out for you. But first, we're going to have a quick break, and then we're going to be bringing you some more MMA action.
So Lewis today has kindly agreed to set me a challenge worthy of being an MMA fighter. So I am going to do this week's Mayhem Babes challenge here at Ronin MMA Gym in Birmingham. So let's see how I get on with today's challenge.
Okay, so challenge number 1 is over-unders. All we're going to do, we're going to shoot between the legs, and then we're going to leapfrog over the back. It's just a simple wrestling drill.
Many was that? 11. It's not too bad.
So the next one is ankle or single leg hops. All we're going to do is pick the ankle up, just for ankle conditioning and calf conditioning, drag them round, trying to feel the position of the single leg and hop on one leg.
Big quite nice. On the noise, what did you
Okay, the next drill is bear crawls with partner on back, and all you're going to do is drive down, and they're going to try and keep a hold of you, and the other person's going to try and get to the end of you.
Okay.
All you got to do is get to the end then. I'm going to try and not let you.
50% easy.
Well, that certainly was a challenge here down at Ronin MMA Gyms today. A huge thanks to Lewis for putting it together, and of course Salt for having us down here today. But I am curious just how well I did score on today's scorecard. Over to you, Lewis. How did I score?
I think you did really well, especially on the single leg, and the strength when I was trying to pull back was pretty strong, so fantastic work.
This is Jade from Mayhem Babes for Battle Arena MMA UK.
Thank you, Mayhem Girls. We'll catch up again with you next week. So, Steve, earlier we were talking about personalities in MMA, and I know we've got one more fight. We've saved the best till last on this episode of Battle Arena TV, and it's Haycox versus Fabio, and two very different personalities. But I want to talk about the personality of Will Haycox. He comes out to the Beatles song, Here Comes the Sun. Everyone else has some Rage Against the Machine, they get themselves pumped up. Will comes out super chill, happy, big smile on his face, and they're a very relaxed fighter. What do you think of Will Haycox?
Well, I'm a huge Haycox fan. I don't deny it. I'll never deny it. But some people just don't need to be worked up. They've just got that fire in them. They've just got the fighter spirit all the time. He can turn it on and off like a light switch.
Body kick for Will. Very relaxed, I'm seeing. Oh, there it is. There's the takedown.
We knew
it's
it
right
was
in the
coming.
side control.
When you have William Haycox fighting, you know it's going to be a grappling match pretty quickly.
I like how he tabled those legs there. Fabio's got to be very, very aware of his positioning here on the ground. Will Haycox looking at tying up those legs, keeping them together.
Fabio's looking for that Kimura trap. It's going to be so hard to pull that off on Will Haycox. He's such a high-level grappler. Naga champion, Elite Combat MMA champion, Battle Arena champion. Wants to add another bout to that collection. Just pulling out that leg. Just beautiful grappling from William Haycox. Listen to his corner. Composed.
Good control of the ankle there. He's going to probably look to pass onto that side as well. Ooh, split guard there. Good, he's setting up the back take or the mount. He's got a really good, really strong position here from Will Haycox as he just...
And look, he's just chatting to his cornerman, just getting advice on, okay, what should I do because the cage is in the way. So composed.
That's what you want to see, composure and coachability here from Will Haycox. And really, we don't have an answer yet from Skama. Such a tough opponent.
That can be the difference with fight. Look, he's looking for that arm trap with his leg. He's trying to lace his leg over Skama's left arm, just like he's done now. Now he can use two arms to attack the neck of Skama. But it can mean you end up quite high up. Oh, look, he's transitioning to... That's kind of modified back control to an armbar. Oh, Skama got out. He's going to get a triangle straight away. You never want to be in a William Haycox triangle.
Yeah, he's locked it up.
We know he has
on the angle.
Lightning fast, tight submissions. This could be over very quickly.
Oh, I think Skama's looking to tap. He's fighting as much as he can. He wants that European title. Is Will Haycox going to switch to the armbar?
Will Will Haycox win another title without taking a single hit?
Only time will tell. He's really well locked up.
He has a long leg. Sometimes with long legs, it can be hard to finish triangles. It's easy to get them, but hard to finish.
This is a 3-minute round, though, and we see that Skama's tucking his right arm behind him, alleviating some of that pressure.
He's going for a TP choke. Lovely 10th planet jiu-jitsu technique. Short time. Can he put Skama out? He's unconscious.
He's taking him
right
right out.
Him out. Oh, Skama just came back then. William Haycox once again wins without taking a single punch. Is there anything that man can't do?
Very impressive there for the TP choke. 2 minutes, 53 seconds of the first round. It took a little longer this time for Will Haycox, but he still got the job done, and that European title is his. For the Will Haycox hopefuls.
So Will Haycox is a real grappling standout, a jiu-jitsu champion that has won such prestigious tournaments as Naga, the British Open, etc. It's just a laundry list of accomplishments for William Haycox. He also trains with some incredible fighters.
When I was watching this fight, I had to re-watch it just to appreciate how good Will Haycox is. So at the very end, he's transitioning between 3 or 4 different submission attempts. He's flowing from one to the other to the other. He's got a plan B for everything. And I thought I would try and explain it to the camera, I'll explain it to you now, but it would be really difficult. So I've made this little home video with my lovely wife, Julia, so I can explain exactly what he did to get the submission at the end. But before we show that video, you've got to follow us on social media. It's really important. It's going to be appearing on the screen now. Add us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, so you can stay up to date with all the future Battle Arena events. So let's go check out that video now and see just how good Will Haycox is.
Wow, what an incredible finish that was in that fight by Will Haycox. We're going to run through, just so I can explain to you how good that was and all the details that go into it. Sometimes you just see a choke and you think it's just a choke, but that was super high level from a super high level competitor and Battle Arena champion. So
he had his opponent's back here. And he's trying to, it looked a bit weird, right? Because normally we think about having 2 hooks in, but what Will was doing, he's trying to trap the arm, because then now he's got both arms to try and get this choke, and it makes it really easy. So even that is a high level thing to do. So he's trying to trap the arm, but he ends up a little bit high. I'm going to get Julia to shoot down for me. So he ends up like this. And what happens is now it's going to be really hard to get the choke, right? So what Will does is he brings this leg over and he's trying to switch to an armbar here. And now he would be able to get this, but Fabio is very aware of that and he actually spun that way and came out onto his knees. And as he did, let's turn around a little bit, Julia. As he did, Will locked up a triangle here. So a triangle is where you put your foot under your knee in a triangle shape like this. Now, his opponent was very clever. He knew that if Will got an angle, it would make it really tight. So he stayed really square. And Will tried to switch to an armbar and a few other things. And eventually he realised that the problem was he couldn't get the angle. So he's modified this choke to be able to do it square. And he turned it into something called a TP choke. So the first step, he pushed this arm onto the hip like this, right? Normally this would be the wrong thing to do in a triangle, but in this situation it was the right thing to do. He straightened his legs out here, and then he hugged his legs, and got the squeeze and choked him out. So it's just straightening out, hugging the legs, squeezing there. And that's it. And it's just an amazing, amazing sequence to go from trapping the arms, to switch to the armbar, to switch to the triangle, and then to switch ultimately to the TP choke and put it all together. And that's how it's done. Back to the studio.
Thanks very much, Julia. She really is your better half, Chris. You do know that, right?
I'm aware, yeah.
Good. Well, we know that Will Haycox put on an absolute grappling clinic there, and we've got him coming up in a live Battle Arena show in July. So please follow us on all social media platforms. You'll probably see them there at the bottom so that you can get in on the action. Well, this has been our first show. Chris?
Wow, it's been an amazing show. The highlight for me this show was the Corey Belden fight. To come back from such adversity, it's everything that MMA should be about. It's the story, the emotion, everything behind it, and such a great fighter to come through and be the Battle Arena champion. It's been a pleasure to be here with you, Steve, doing this show. So it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from us here at MMA Battle Arena. Please join us next time for some more incredible mixed martial arts action.